Hey, happy new day, family. This is a continuation of the book. We're at chapter 17, and I figured I better go ahead and get this done because I've heard some remarks from people who want to know what's taking me so long and where have I been. Well, I'm back, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to finish it, okay, so that we can then start, excuse me, on book number 2, okay, but we'll finish this one. So, all roads lead to one Africa, or it would seem, and all kinds of people show up on our door. They know about us through a friend or a friend of a friend who has told them that they must just stop in One Africa's place once they're in Ghana. And many of them do just that. It's surprising the numbers of people that we see coming through our gate, considering we had not been advertising. People show up at all hours of the day or night, acting like we had known them for years. One Africa's house, as many people call it, has become a meeting place for hundreds of people. They come for many reasons, and we are there to welcome them. As Brother Bongo Shorty always says, someone will be there to welcome you. And we are happy and blessed to be the ones. We have performed weddings at our place. Sister Kamali, a sister from the Bronx that we met at our place during an African History Month celebration, called me a week or so after her visit to One Africa. "Do you remember me?" she asked. "I'm the one that helped you clean up after all the people jumped on the bus and tried to leave your place a wreck. I really had a wonderful time. Thank you for hosting us." Oh yes, I do remember. How could I forget the expressions on the faces of some of those students when I ordered them off the bus to clean up their mess, and thanks for your help also. They never forgot that visit, she continued, and neither will I. I just wanted to let you know that I'm getting married. I have found the man of my dreams. His name is Justice, and he's a computer programmer in Accra. He's so wonderful, nice and thoughtful. Really? I said, for this came as a kind of surprise to me. When did this happen? Are you sure this is what you want to do? I asked her. I met him a couple of weeks ago, and we want to get married before I return to America. Girl, that love bug really bit your butt, I laughed. And that is a whole lot of butt to bite, too, if I remember correctly. We cracked up, laughing so hard that it brought tears to my eyes. Now, this was ironic, for she had come to Ghana with her girlfriend, who was looking for a husband, and she had come along to do some shopping and to get a new perspective on things going on in her life. In fact, the whole marriage business was the talk of Ghana, as she had not been in Ghana very long and had immediately found the man of her dreams. We're going to City Hall and tie the knot, she continued. Have you ever been married before? I asked. No, came the response. And how old are you? I'm 34, she said. Well, sister lady, you're old enough to know better and to make your own decisions. But since this is the first time, why don't you do it right? I suggested. My money is kind of funny, and I can't afford to do anything elaborate, she continued. What else is new? But sister lady, what if I told you we could do a beautiful wedding for between $100 and $150, reception and all? Impossible, she laughed. Trust me, girl, this be Ghana, and I'm a magician. You just get your dress and your man and come on down to our place at the appointed time. We'll take care of the rest. We might be able to get a honeymoon thrown in, I told her. I talked it over with Nana, who thought it was not a bad idea. That's what One Africa is about, making good things happen for the family when they return home. We then contacted Kohen, our neighbor and rabbi, and asked him to perform the wedding. The word went out, and we notified members of our African American community to sit in as the family of the bride. We also invited our other Ghanaian friends. Arrangements were made with Kohen's wife Mabel to cater the affair, including the wedding cake. We were on. Several days later, girlfriend showed up with her husband-to-be. The matron of honor, the friend who was looking for a husband, and the best man. She was so happy. In fact, she had told me that they had been reading Essence magazine on the plane from New York and had come across this beautiful wedding dress that cost close to $1,000. Buy some material and take the picture to a seamstress in Accra. She'll hook you up, and it won't cost $1,000 either, I told her the week before. Lo and behold, the dress was fabulous and made for less than $50. We did all the things families are supposed to do. We questioned the intended husband, asked about his background. The brothers took him out for his last night on the town as a single man and explained to him some of the things he might encounter being married to a strong, independent, born in America African sister. The sisters prepared the bride the night before, and we had a ball. The wedding was scheduled for 6 a.m. the following morning. Before daybreak, we prepared the lawn, set up the wedding tent, covered it with kente cloth, put straw mats and goat skins on the ground for the bride and groom to stand on. We put up an altar and set the frankincense to burning. We had also decorated a new broom for them to jump over. The day couldn't have been more perfect or the bride more beautiful. She wore a white dress embroidered in gold with a gold crown and a veil that I had made that morning. I was standing in as the mother of the bride and Nana as the father who gave her away. Sister Kanaya, who had also repatriated from Norristown, Pennsylvania, with her husband Brima, a Ghanaian lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, were also co-opted as family members. Dr. and Mrs. Rod and Sherazad King, who were also teaching at the university, were there and served as official photographers, and Daddy Bongo played the drums. The wedding was on. As we stood under the tent, listening to Kohen perform the ceremony, birds chimed in singing in the background. The day was clear. The sun was just coming up. In the distance stood the Elmina Castle dungeons. But today was a glorious and happy day. After they took their vows, they leaped over the broom. Everyone was happy, or at least almost everyone. Since they had arrived, the maid of honor had displayed a little attitude and had been making snide little remarks. She wasn't really happy about this whole affair. She's ticked off because she's not the one getting married, the bride told me. Well, that's not your fault. She'll get over it, I replied. Don't mind her. This is your day. Don't let anyone spoil it for you. After the ceremony, we had a wedding breakfast and began preparing for the reception. Because everyone's money was funny, we had to spend it wisely. Instead of driving all over town with the horns blowing, the car was decorated and a just married sign was put on the back of Brother Brima's car. The newlyweds were then driven, horn blowing and ribbons flying, to the end of our road, about 400 feet, and then a quarter of a kilometer up the highway to Oyster Bay's hotel entrance and back to the reception at Kohen's place next door to One Africa. When they got out of the car, everyone cheered, but we didn't throw rice, though, because it would have been wasteful, considering the numbers of people who could not even afford to buy rice. We had to be conscious of our surroundings. Living in a small village community made us acutely aware of the plight of our people, not only in our community, but also in many places in Africa as a whole. We had come home. We couldn't change the fact that so many people went to bed hungry every night, but we could do the best that we could to help and not contribute to their suffering. Throwing rice was out. It was a wonderful day. Our gift to the newlyweds was a honeymoon at our place. The last time we saw Justice, he came for a visit to inform us that he was on his way to America to be with Kamali. They were still quite happy the last time I spoke with him. All roads lead to Africa. I almost said all roads lead to America, but that was a mistake. All roads lead to one Africa, and they do. We've even had babies born at our place. Brother Mukhaddim El-Shabazz and his queen relocated to Ghana several years ago and wanted their first child to be born on the soil of Mother Africa. We had met Sister Bay while she was living in Accra, waiting for Brother Shabazz to join her from Atlanta. When he arrived, they came to visit us and decided they'd like the baby born at One Africa's in one of the chalets. Nana and I were in agreement, provided that we had the midwives in attendance. We thought we had another week or so before the baby came, but the baby had other plans. I was just about to leave for Accra when his queen went into labor, and I had to change my plans. After 25 hours of hard labor, walking up and down the compound all day with assistance from the expectant father, Brother Shabazz, 2 midwives and myself, Free Soul was born. I was totally exhausted. You would have thought that I had given birth. It certainly felt like it. It gave us a good laugh, though, when both the mother and I fell back on the bed in exhaustion. I had been holding her while we pushed. The midwives had said earlier that if the mother didn't do something soon, they were going to take her to the hospital to deliver. That must have been the magic word. In less than 15 minutes, Free Soul came into the world. He was long and bright, with a head full of black hair, long thin fingers, and bright black eyes that were open with an expression on his face that seemed to say, "What's going on here?" Or, "So is this Earth, huh?" Everyone started shouting, laughing, and screaming in victory, because for a while we didn't think it was going to happen there. In fact, Brother Shabazz had just left to go and find a car to take his wife to the hospital when the baby made its grand entrance. As he walked up, he heard the noise and, busting into the room, found himself the daddy of a fine, fine son. In all the excitement, no one remembered the camera, and Shabazz is a photographer, but the memory would be etched in our minds forever. Once again, another adventure, another blessing in the life of One Africa. And the people who came through our gates, unfortunately, after 2 years, they returned to America, taking Free Soul with her and basically severing their relationship. The move cut deeply into Shabazz, for he wanted both his queen and his son with him in Africa. And if she would not stay, then give me my son. Let him grow up here at home with me. Then let me take the place of the necessary babysitters and daycare centers you will be needing in America, Shabazz often implored. But that wasn't to be. Shabazz remains here to this day, mournfully celebrating his return home and throwing himself into the conscious development of our people and himself through his establishment of the Healing House, an African holistic approach to health, economic development, unity, and spiritual consciousness. We've buried and or sprinkled ashes of dearly departed loved ones on the ocean, as per the request of family members, and planted trees in memories of others who have passed. And did I say all roads lead to one Africa? And this case was no different. A sister landed in Ghana with the remains of her brother-in-law without a clue as to how or where she would put in the rest. But she met a friend of ours in Accra, Brother Kwesi, who told her, "You need to contact One Africa. They can help you out." So ashes in hand, she and Kwesi "You need to contact One Africa. They can help you." So ashes in hand, she and Kwesi showed up at our gate. "Hey, One Africa, how is it? My brother, my sister, it is good to see you again. I miss this place too much when I am not here," Kwesi laughed. "The place is sweet though. You meet my friend Sister Jerry Chisholm from the U.S. Instructions were made all around, and we made small talk while a drink of water was given, as a tradition before getting down to any business. With all the formalities out of the way, Nana asked them, "Is anyone in pursuit of you?" Looking at Kwesi with a funny look on her face, Sister Jerry asked, "We aren't being pursued, are we?" Everyone laughed. "Well then, what is your mission?" Nana continued. "You really have the custom down," said Kwesi. "No one can ever say that you're not really Ghanaians." "Well, my brother, we're home, so we have to move according to the culture, right?" I queried, to no one in particular. "Well," Kwesi interjected, "Sister Jerry has just arrived from the U.S. and has brought the remains of her brother-in-law, Lou Kafili, home for burial. Since she has never been here before, she needs some help on what and how to do this. That is why I brought her to see you and Nana Okofu." "So where's the body?" I asked. "Right here in my bag," was her reply. "Oh?" For a moment I was lost for words. "Aha," I said, "very interesting. So how can we help you?" "It's a kind of sad and unfortunate story," Sister Jerry said. A couple of years before, her sister Halima, whose name means gentle strength, and her husband Leo, whose name means voice worth dying for, were married in a traditional Nubian ceremony performed on the 11th of August, 1993 at sunrise by Dr. Ben Yohanan. It was a beautiful ceremony held in the Karnak Temple, the great northern temple of Wait in Luxor, Egypt, Kemet, Northeast Africa. They vowed at that time that if anything happened to either one of them, the surviving spouse would create their remains and bring their ashes home to Africa for burial. Brother Leo wanted half of his remains returned to Egypt and the other half to Ghana. They were certainly not planning for anyone's death, but that was their wish. They were happy together, living in North Carolina and making plans for their future. On the 23rd of March, 1995, Brother Leo went to work at the construction job site to collect his paycheck But while he was there, a confrontation broke out between the boss and a couple of Mexican workers. Tempers were hot, and there was a shooting. When it was over, my brother-in-law, who was an innocent bystander, lay dead. All night, my sister waited for him to return home, tossing and turning, unable to sleep, trying not to worry. She called around, but no one had seen him. But when 4 a.m. arrived and he still was not home, she knew something was wrong. A little after 4 a.m., a police car pulled up in front of their house. As the two policemen neared the house, she heard one of them say, "This must be the home of the deceased." When she opened the door for the policeman, he informed her that Leo had been shot and killed. That's how she learned of the death of her husband. There was no funeral, but an African homecoming of life celebration. When the celebration had been completed, she began to make preparations to bring his remains home. She was devastated and missing Leo terribly. About 6 months prior to his death, she had suffered a miscarriage and lost their first child. So you can just imagine her surprise when she went to the doctor a couple of months after he died and was told by the doctor that she was pregnant again. She was ecstatic. It truly was a miracle, and she didn't want anything to happen to this baby. So her plans of coming to Africa with his remains were once again put on hold. 7 months later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, Onika Jadina Afua, whose name means divine miracle, sacred one loved by all, and born on Friday. But she could still not make the journey because the baby was too young. Another delay. But her sister assured her that everything would be okay and that she would take the ashes to Africa for her. It might take a little while because she didn't have enough money just yet, but she would work on it and make it happen. One evening, she was at a function in which they were holding a raffle. The first prize was a round-trip ticket to Ghana, West Africa. When she was approached to purchase a raffle, she initially refused. "I never win anything," she said. "There's a first time for everything," the seller assured her. So after a little more coaching, she bought one ticket. When they called her name, she was speechless. In fact, she was shocked and almost passed out. When it settled in that she had won a trip to Ghana, she started dancing and jumping around in excitement. She could now take the remains of her brother-in-law home to Africa. "So here I am," she continued. "And when I met Kwesi and told him what I wanted to do, he immediately told me about One Africa." "What a sad but wonderful story," I said quietly. Everyone agreed. "We'll do what we can to assist you," Nana continued. "But in the meantime, let's get a bite to eat and reason on it some more later on. You're home. Just make yourself comfortable." Later on that evening, as the sun was setting, I came upon Sister standing at the waterfront, gazing into the distant waters. This is a beautiful, peaceful, and spiritual place. It has so much history. The crashing of the waves against the shore is calming to the spirit, she said. "This is truly paradise." "Yes, it is," I said. In the distance are the Elmina Castle dungeons. Did you ever imagine that you'd be standing looking at the place where they took our ancestors away from more than 400 years ago? I asked her. "Not really," she replied. "Not really. It is truly a blessing to be standing here today. Lio would have loved your place." As we stood there in deep contemplation, a plan began to form in my mind. This was a very spiritual place. In fact, the remains of another brother had been brought here by Baba Andy and buried under a coconut tree, and a place had been set aside as a memorial for our daughter and Sister Elmina Dennis, who had passed away the year before, and our cousin, Sharon Thomas Holden. Sister Zakiya from Harlem had even brought some personal belongings of elder sister Alma Johns and had also buried them here when she had joined the ancestors. Why not Brother Liu? When I spoke to Nana about it, he agreed. It seems appropriate, he said, and if Sister Jerry has no problem with it, neither do I. When I brought it back to her, she was overjoyed. We decided to perform the ceremony the following morning. Everyone was participating. Excuse me. Everyone who was participating would be dressed in white. There would be drumming and dancing and celebrating, for that's what the brother wanted. We got started at 6 a.m. with the pouring of libation and the offering up of prayers of thanksgiving. The drums were being played softly in the background. The final resting place had been prepared. As he was being put into the ground, the sister began to slowly dance. As she danced, the beat of the drums grew louder, and her dancing became intense. She twirled around and around and around, lifting her arms to the sky, leaping through the air, the movement of her body as though she were possessed. The air was electrified, and the spirit took hold, and I also began to dance. We danced for what seemed like hours, twirling and twirling. The green of the grass and the blue of the ocean began meshing together. The beat of the drums pounding to the beat of your heart. I finally stopped to rest, but Sister Jerry continued. She danced until she fell out in exhaustion across the gravesite. She had done what she promised to do. She had brought him home and performed the rites in celebration of his passing.